Shopify, Square, CommentSold. You're about to start your boutique and you're wondering which POS system do I choose? This video, I'm going to walk you through the pros and the cons, whether you're opening online, brick and mortar, pop-up, mobile. We're going to kind of get into some of the nitty-gritties, and I'm going to tell you what my personal experience has been using some of these softwares for the past 5 to 8 years. If it's your first time finding one of my videos, hi, it's so good to meet you. My name's Emily Benson. I'm a retail strategist and inventory expert. I absolutely love talking about POS systems, which are also called point of sale systems. And I have worked with, I think, almost all of them through working with over 15,000 clients who have grown and scaled their boutique businesses within my ecosystem called Boutique Training Academy. So we're talking about point of sale systems. Point of sale is the literal place where someone checks out, whether it's on your website or whether it's in your store or whether it's at a pop-up market where you're under a tent and you have to swipe on your card. I started my boutique, The Fashion Truck, in 2011, and we really had very few options for mobile payment processing. And now there's a bazillion choices. And so today I'm presenting you with some of the most popular and personally what I find to be the easiest to work with. Now, I'm going to preface all of this with no software is perfect. No reporting is perfect. There's glitches. There's always going to be issues. And I'm sure I'm going to get people in the comments giving you all the issues that happen to them, right? But what I will say is that for the purpose of starting a retail store, whether you decide to be really big or stay kind of small, there are things that you want to think about when choosing this POS system because they all cost money to use. And the various choices of how much they cost to use is going to affect your bottom line. So it's an expense decision that you need to make. So I want to talk through the 3 biggest that I see most boutique owners and businesses doing under, retail businesses doing under $1 million are starting out using, and they're able to scale using these as well. At the end, I'm also going to give you some of the key questions I would ask yourself before you make that final choice. Okay, so let's talk about sort of the least known first. And I'm just going to say it's the least known because it's a little bit niche, and that is CommentSold. CommentSold was a platform that was developed out of the owners of Discount Divas. Now, Discount Divas every day was going live inside of a Facebook group and selling, I want to say every hour, doing a sale of an item at a discount. And this was probably back in 2015, 2016, before we had a lot of systems that now, again, software systems are sort of built into some of these platforms. And so what they developed essentially was a point of sale system for someone who does live selling. So they use their phone to broadcast sales. And then what happens is someone comments sold, the word sold, with the number of the item and maybe the size, some kind of coding system that is, again, programmed into CommentSold. They type that in and an invoice for that item is automatically sent to the shopper. Beautiful system. We love it. Solves a huge, huge problem. Now, over time, how CommentSold has developed is that it's become more robust. They have a lot more features. They have a lot more benefits. And honestly, if you are primarily a live seller where you love to go on and be on video and be selling a lot, do not hesitate. Please go use CommentSold. They are the best in the biz at that. Being the best in class at the power of video means that you're going to get benefits. So after you go live, CommentSold will clip out little pieces and segments of what you're selling and use that as the video on the product page right there on your website, which is so cool. CommentSold also offers you an app to use. So you can have a branded app where people can shop in your app. You can go live in the app, right? So someone downloads your app, they're in your own ecosystem. You own everything in there. So there's so many really awesome benefits to using CommentSold. At the time of me making this, CommentSold does actually have a brick and mortar option where you can have their POS system in your store. I don't know a lot about it, but there is some flexibility in terms of being online and in person. But mostly I would recommend CommentSold to the person who absolutely loves live broadcasting, live selling, QVC style, wants to do TikTok shop, wants to be on screen, on camera a lot. CommentSold is going to be great for you. I would also recommend it for anyone that has really a customer base that's great at apps, that they want to download your app. They want to get those push alerts. Those are so great. And there are customers out there, subsets of customers who love to use an app. Okay, so hopefully that gave you like a pretty clear who is this for CommentSold. If you're new to Boutique Land, I want to just let you know right here that I have a free webinar that's on demand that walks you through how to start a successful clothing boutique business. So if you're in that state where you're like, listen, I really just need to know the most up-to-date things, how am I going to get started? This webinar is going to give you that exact plan. So all you have to do to get the on-demand access is type start below. We'll comment back with the link to sign up for the webinar. You type your email in, and then we immediately give you access to that hour-long webinar and the 30-minute Q&A I did at the end. So please don't miss out on seeing that. To me, this is a no-brainer. If you're starting, you're going to want more of this information. The two big elephants that always are going to stand out when you search what POS system should I use are going to be Square and Shopify. Okay, those are the biggies. There are a lot of other ones. And again, I'm going to get comments down below that like, yes, there are other platforms, but I have a lot of experience with Shopify and I have a pretty fair amount of experience with Square, not as much, but I think that that is because Square is actually pretty simple. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of talk about both of them and the benefits and like what you want to think about. I was describing this to my hair stylist and she was like, oh, okay, yeah. She's not in the business, but you know, when I can explain it to anybody, that's when I know like I have an opinion on it, right? So here's my first take is if you're going to be mainly online, I feel strongly that Shopify is the route to go. Why? Well, it is e-commerce based. So it was created to be e-commerce first and foremost, right? That's why it was created. Now, it does have a brick and mortar and like a card swiping plan that is also included in it, right? So you can have in-person sales and it's great. But what I love about its online capabilities are that really there's no tech required to get yourself started selling online. I think if you've been to my website, shopboutiqueceo.com, like those are built on Shopify. And I think it took me like maybe 45 minutes to get it fully up and done, right? Like it's not hard. And there's so many tutorials on how to use Shopify. We actually include one in my Boutique Basics Bootcamp course. It's all included, like how to get yourself set up on Shopify really quickly. And I love Shopify because truly it's like what most e-commerce is built on. And so there is a familiarity with the customer who does shop online a lot. They've like shopped a Shopify site. You probably shopped a bunch of Shopify sites and maybe you didn't know it, but a lot of the e-commerce world is built on Shopify. Now, let me dip over to Square for a minute because I think we have to talk about, does Square have the same e-commerce capabilities as Shopify? Like it does, but it's not really built for that. To me, Square was built for an independent retailer. Like you can go, I don't know if you can still do this, but I think you can go to like a drugstore or a Best Buy and buy a Square reader and just start using it right away. And that was the beauty of Square when it first came out. It was really a solution for people doing pop-up markets for, you know, again, you could process things on your phone, on a tablet, like basically anything that you can plug this little adapter swiper into, you could take payment for, which is amazing. And when I had my mobile boutique, it was so like, that was a helpful tool at that point, right? Because I could be out and about with, you know, a cell signal and take payment. So if you're doing pop-ups, if you're doing a brick and mortar, I really like Square. I think it's so simple to use. The back end of it is just like the user interface is so simple and easy to find things. So if you're not super tech savvy, I do like Square because of its simplicity, because it's really just meant to do in-person sales. Now, again, it does have an online component. You can, you know, sell online through Square. I don't want to dissuade you if you're going to have a brick and mortar and then grow online. Yeah, okay, you can like start with Square and then you can add the online component. But I think for the most part, what I would say is that if you are going to start off as a brick and mortar or pop-up, start with Square. It's very easy to use. Again, you can always switch over to Shopify. You can always switch back. That's honestly kind of the beauty of all of these systems is many of them either plug into each other or they've already transferred tons of data back and forth. So like they can do it with you. So if you start off in Square, you're like, this isn't for me. You like Shopify, great. Just literally, I think it's a couple buttons and it will just transfer everything over. And so, you know, don't get so overwhelmed with the idea of like, oh, whatever I choose, it's really going to make or break you. It's not. But I will say, like, again, Shopify for me is really good for reporting. The Square has really good reports too. So what you put into the system is what you're going to get out of the system. I think as a user, you have to be really careful as a new boutique owner to make sure you're really entering that data. Again, like if you're just doing a random pop-up here and there and you're just quick sailing everything, meaning like you're entering the price of something and swiping the card, okay, but that's not a long-term solution for growing and scaling a business, okay? So when I say we love the reports, it's because what it spits out is selling data. It's inventory data that we can then use to project sales, to make plans to, again, grow and scale your business. And CommentSold has reporting too. It's not always my favorite reporting. Not going to lie, CommentSold, call me as always. But Square and Shopify have some nice reports and they are easy to use. And I find that even if I can't get the exact right report, I can find something similar. What I will say is that all of these systems have more reporting and more data sets than you'll ever probably need. And that's a good thing, really. In my opinion, the most important questions to ask: one, how am I going to operate? If you're going to operate mostly through live selling, CommentSold. If you're going to operate mostly brick and mortar pop-ups, Square. If you're going to really operate primarily as an online e-commerce retailer, Shopify is your choice. Next question, if you're still deciding, is how tech savvy are you? Square is the simplest one to use. I'm just going to tell you that straight out. It has very easy drop-down menus. It's easy to navigate. I just think it's simple. So if you are not someone who's like really great with tech or understanding menus and finding things, stick with Square. If you are a little bit more tech savvy, I love Shopify, especially if you're just going to be online, because you can plug in loyalty programs. You could do drop shipping. You can do print on demand. Like there's basically all these apps that have been developed by software developers that you can essentially plug into the back end of your Shopify and add extra features to the front of your Shopify. Now, they all cost money. Or you're using their system. So again, it's like relying on other things to make your business work. But I'm not going to lie, all of my boutique calendars are printed on demand through an app from Lulu Direct that we plug into a Shopify site. You guys order the calendar. It gets sent over to Lulu Direct. They say print, they print it, they ship it. I never really touch it. So how tech savvy are you is important to think about. And I would say for all of these, you don't need to hire someone to design it. You don't need to hire someone to do all this. You're here on YouTube. If you're good enough at finding me, you can find Shopify helpers. You can find Square tutorials. Even those companies have a lot of tutorials. CommentSold will even give you an onboarding person to work with you and really walk you through how to do that. And so you've got to remember that there are always resources out there that are free. I never want someone to say, well, I started my Shopify store and paid someone $8,000 to build it and I don't know how to change it. I'm not opposed to having someone build things for you, but as a business owner, you want to be able to really fix and figure out most of your business all the time, because that's how you're able to pivot and be flexible. And you've really got to understand what's going on behind the scenes. If you're really new and you're still navigating all of this stuff and you're like, I like you, Emily, you've got some good ideas, I'd love to recommend that you sign up to my on-demand webinar called How to Start a Successful Clothing Boutique Business. All you need to do to get access to it is comment start below, and we'll send you the link. When you get that link, you click it, you're going to put your email in, and then you're going to get immediate access to this 1-hour webinar where I walk you through what you need to do to get that boutique started. And I have a 30-minute Q&A as a bonus where I answer a bunch of people's questions. And I'm sure there's questions I'll answer that you haven't even thought of yet. So hopefully this helps you pick a platform. Let me know down below if you still have questions or you want clarity or you want to talk it out. But thank you so much for being here. Here's to making lots of friends and making lots of money. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye.